On Wednesday, we got news that Airbnb, the popular vacation rental online marketplace company, announced a confidential submission of draft registration statement. In other words, Airbnb has filed confidential IPO paperwork, bringing it one step closer to being a publicly traded company where then you and I can go out and buy shares in this business. But the question, of course, you guys may be wondering is, will I be buying Airbnb on its IPO date? Guys, the answer to that is it's still too early to tell because we don't know a whole lot of information about its financials and all that kind of stuff yet because it's not yet public. But what I do want to share in this video is kind of my general thoughts around this business, their business model, what I think about the industry, all that kind of stuff, to give you guys an idea of whether I'm bullish or bearish on this type of company. I think it's going to be some great insight for you guys and probably set you up to understand the business a lot better if you choose to decide in this company when it goes public. So guys, if you appreciate this video, just drop a like down below. It helps the channel out a ton and I truly do appreciate it. So Airbnb has actually been a business that I've been very interested in for years, and I've been watching this fairly closely to see if the company ever did make moves to go public. Now, I've never personally hosted my place on Airbnb. However, I have traveled and used their service, and the experience is completely different from a traditional hotel, which is the main appeal for Airbnb. Needless to say, I'm happy to continue using their service once we get past the global issue and travel picks up again and people feel comfortable moving around through airplanes and all these other things once again. But that's just my personal experience, my personal thoughts on this. But there are some other reasons that I want to share with you which really do excite me about this company. But first, let's not kid ourselves. Airbnb has had a very tough time in the last few months with the global issue. This whole industry has been suffering and Airbnb is no different. In April, they had to raise more capital, so they looked at private equity and raised $1 billion there. And this debt that they raised isn't cheap at all. They are paying some lofty premiums here for the debt, and this tells me they are quite desperate to raise capital to keep the company running. So this does have me concerned on their overall financial position. If I had to guess, it probably doesn't look all that great and probably has a good amount of debt on their balance sheet. Then about a month later in May, the company announced layoffs of 25% of their workforce, cutting 1,900 jobs from the company, which again signals that they needed to cut costs to save their cash. This is understandable from my perspective because their industry essentially shut off overnight and they had to survive. So these are moves that companies have to make. Uber, for example, made the same move, and honestly, it's just part of the survival process. But unfortunately, all of this has hurt their valuation quite significantly, with the company now sitting at a roughly $18 billion valuation after being worth more than $30 billion not too long ago. But if you think about it, it's pretty much in line with other companies in this industry, seeing their valuations essentially cut in half during April when things looked very bleak. But anyways, that's kind of the risks associated with this, the downside associated with Airbnb from a very high level. But now let's discuss some things that I'm actually excited about, which actually, could be the reason that I end up investing in this business. Let me Google that for you. Or is that photoshopped? Or let's grab an Uber to go grab lunch. These are companies that have engraved themselves in society, and their brands or their services or whatever that they offer has become a part of culture now. And what I see with Airbnb is something very similar. When you think of going on a trip, then going out for a weekend, to a cottage or something, you and your friends are probably like, oh, let's grab an Airbnb and, find a place that we can stay in. That right there has a lot of staying power in my opinion. And the reason kind of is because this makes the brand much more valuable. And if you guys know anything about my investments, I really appreciate a good brand. Fundamentals, of course, are important, but a good brand behind that is kind of key to my investments. My most successful investments, my best performing stocks, are all companies that have a very strong, reputable brand behind it. Traditionally with this industry, hotels and that kind of stuff, I'm not a huge bull, to be honest. I don't think they're going anywhere. People are still going to use hotels for business, that kind of stuff. But there's no sense of loyalty really when it comes to the hotel industry. For example, if you're on, bookings.com or, Expedia, whatever it is, You go there, you look for a hotel, and you find a few different options. One may be a Marriott hotel, one may be Hyatt, one may be Hilton. Now, you're typically gonna say, okay, sort by 4-star, 5-star, whatever it is, and you're gonna pick the cheapest price. You're not gonna care, oh, there's a 5-star Hilton that's $500 a night, and there's a 5-star Marriott that's $300 a night. Most people are not going to pay that $200 premium to be in a Hilton hotel. They're just going to go for the cheapest, best value that they can get. And that's kind of the reason why I don't think brand loyalty and customer loyalty is a big thing in this industry. And this kind of brings me full circle with Airbnb. It's kind of a brand thing. People like going to Airbnbs. People like the experience from Airbnbs. And I think that holds tremendous value for the company. Also, this is kind of an aside, but with current times, would you personally be more comfortable going to a hotel where there's, hundreds of guests from all over the world that are staying there? Or would you rather go to a private Airbnb and be the only ones there, so there's a lower chance of getting sick? I mean, I think the answer is pretty obvious, but that's just something as an aside to consider, at least for the short term here. So second thing I like about Airbnb is that it appeals to a wide range of age groups, from your teenagers to young adults to, older adults with families. Everyone can enjoy the Airbnb experience. Teens may be looking, for a weekend house to go have a party, or you can have young adults looking to have a cottage trip with their friends, or maybe you have a family that wants to go out to the lake and stay there for a week and enjoy time off from work. These are all things that Airbnb can provide and fulfill because there's just so much selection from their service. And really, guys, I think this is very important because they have captured the younger audience here, and people that are in their late teens or 20s. They only think of Airbnbs. They don't really look at hotels because it's just more convenient for them. They can go Airbnb out a full house, have all of their friends stay at the house, split the cost. It ends up being cheaper for them than going to a hotel, getting multiple rooms, and the costs typically add up as well. And for a student, not something that they're really looking for. And as these teens and young adults get older and older, they're going to stick with Airbnb, especially if they have good experiences, because they'll grow more trust for the service, for the brand, and just overall have a good impression on the company. I think this is a strong long-term trend that's going to continue going, and it's another reason I'm extremely bullish on Airbnb going forward. Now, personally, this is a business, it's an investment. I'm trying to look at it from that perspective as well. And I think Airbnb has a pretty interesting model here because they don't only provide, a place that you can go out and rent, but they also provide other things like experiences. Now, I've personally used this when traveling, and again, it's a great source of additional revenue, not only for Airbnb, but also for hosts that want to go out and provide these experiences. And this is something that hotels typically don't offer. The best part is, even if you choose not to stay in an Airbnb property when you travel, you can still book these experiences through them and explore the city around you and explore different activities available to you as well. This is great on two sides, like I said, for the actual company Airbnb, but also for travelers and locals because it provides an additional source of income and it provides more options and things to do when you are traveling. The other big part, obviously, of their business model is the actual properties. So if you're a homeowner, you're going to be traveling for a little while, you can Airbnb out your place and earn some additional income while you're gone. Or you could have, a room or two in your house that you can Airbnb out regularly to help compensate for your mortgage. And you know what? People make a lot of money doing this. Honestly, it's kind of the way the world is going. It's similar concept with like what Tesla wants to do with their robo-taxis. You own a car and you send that car out to, create some passive income or whatever for you guys. Or what Uber is doing, similar thing. You own the car, you drive it around. It's your car people are getting into, but that service helps pay for the car. But with Airbnb, it's even better and typically much more profitable than these other ventures because you can charge quite a bit from people traveling that are looking for a nice place to stay that's clean, convenient, and affordable. I really like this part of the business, and I think this will really be the future of how people travel and how vacations are really done going forward. But despite all of this, despite these three bullish points, everything really comes down to the financials for me. I gotta see the company's financials. I gotta see their balance sheet and make sure that they actually have a good amount of cash or assets to keep this company going. could invest in the business, but it will be a very small portion if the balance sheet does not live up to expectation. But we'll deal with that when we do get more details. Just something to note, I'm not going to make a decision whether I'm going to invest in it or not invest in it until I see the financials. And kind of on that note, if you guys want to see an update video when the financials are released, hopefully they'll release a form with every single part of their business, from their risks to their balance sheet, to their income statement, all that kind of stuff. If you guys want to see an update on that when that's out, let me know in the comment section down below and I will gladly make that happen. Either way, guys, share your thoughts in the comment section down below, what you think about Airbnb, whether you'll be investing in this IPO, whether you're interested in this company at all. I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. Either way, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to invest positively. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.